Guys, it just got real. As of today, Washington, D.C. still has not funded the federal government. And this weekend, millions of Americans are about to feel it. We're talking SNAP benefits, frozen paychecks being missed, and families scrambling to cover food, rent, and gas. Now, this isn't theory anymore. This is reality. And whether you like President Donald Trump or not, that's not the issue here. What matters is how we got here, why Congress failed, and what it means for your money, your household, and your future. No, this is not CNN spin. This is not Fox headlines. This is just straight talk and clear answers. Because right now, we know this shutdown is political, but it's more than just political. It's personal. Now, on this video, I want to break down exactly what's happening, who's most at risk, and what you need to do right now to protect yourself. Now, the shutdown began back on October 1st, and as of today, it's among the longest in U.S. history. Multiple Senate votes have failed just this week. The Congressional Budget Office is saying that the economy could lose up to $14 billion if this government shutdown continues on, which basically means this. That could knock 1 to 2 percentage points off the Q4 GDP while the government remains closed. SNAP benefits are in jeopardy. What are SNAP benefits? SNAP benefits are basically funds from the federal government that help low-income individuals and families buy food. Now, around 42 million Americans rely on these SNAP benefits to eat. Without the government being funded immediately, November SNAP benefits won't reload without this funding as soon as tomorrow. This is literally crisis mode for 42 million people in America. Now, folks, that's 1 out of every 8 Americans. I can almost guarantee you that most of you watching this, including me, didn't realize how many Americans actually rely on SNAP benefits from the federal government. Let me know in the comments below if you really and truly knew that 1 in 8 Americans relied on SNAP benefits to eat. There have been a couple of judges in the Northeast that have said SNAP benefits must continue. Now, whether or not the Trump administration or the executive branch is going to appeal that, we'll see. Now, the USDA and the executive administration has issued notices indicating that the federal government will not tap into its emergency funds to pay SNAP benefits for November. So right now, you have a lot of states that are sort of raising alarms because of this, right? Now, on the payroll side, let's talk payroll. There's many federal workers and contractors, plus essential personnel right now who are working and not being paid. And for them, their paychecks this Friday may not land. Now, what's failed in Congress? Let's talk about what's going on. So here's what's really broken down in the system. Guys, it's against the law for the federal government to spend money that has not been signed into law to be spent. So these laws to spend money is what's called an appropriation laws. Much of the federal government runs on 12 annual appropriation bills that must be passed every year. For the government fiscal year 2026 that started back on October 1st, none of the 12 appropriation bills are fully funded. And that's what has triggered this lapse in government funding, causing the government to be forced to shut down until these 12 laws to spend the money have actually been passed in both the House and the Senate and then signed by the president. So Congress basically has not come to an agreement on these 12 laws. Now, I'm not going to go into politics on this video, but I wanted you to understand that this is really a lapse in Congress's ability to compromise and do their job by coming to an agreement. So if you're pinning this whole thing on President Trump, although he is influential, it's not really a presidential shutdown. It's a congressional shutdown, and both sides on the left and the right are responsible. There have been a number of CRs that have been proposed. A CR is simply a continuing resolution, right? It's a temporary stopgap that keeps agencies open when these appropriation bills aren't done yet. Think of a CR as sort of a bridge funding until the full funding is passed. Now, a clean CR means a CR, continuing resolution, with no major policy riders attached to it, just straight funding only. The House and the Senate leaders floated clean CRs to reopen the government through November 21st, but when these CRs were voted on to reopen the government, they all failed. So with no appropriation bills and no accepted CR, funding stops. and so do payments. Now, we know federal workers aren't working also. So who works and who doesn't work during a shutdown? So here's the deal. During a shutdown, federal employees fall into three buckets. They are either accepted. That means they must keep working without pay to protect what's called life and property, right? That's your air traffic controllers and some law enforcement. These accepted workers will get paid back pay after the funding returns. Then the second type of federal employee you have during a shutdown is furloughed employees. Those are the ones that are sent home without pay. They're non-essential for right now. Now, they're also going to get back pay when the government reopens, according to a 2019 bill that was passed in Congress. Now, the third type of federal employee you have during a shutdown is what's called exempt. Now, these are the federal government workers that are paid normally because their jobs are not being funded by those 12 annual appropriation bills, right? So they keep working and they get paid. But here's the deal. Right now, about 1.4 million of a little over 2 million total federal workers are either accepted or furloughed. In other words, roughly 1.4 million federal workers right now are not being paid. So the translation, millions of households either don't work or are working without pay. And the result is household cash flow gets crushed for the most part. Now, let's get to the heart of this thing and talk about what expires next if the government isn't open in the next 24 hours. You have SNAP, which is food stamps. November reloads won't happen without funding. Again, that's going to impact 42 million people, first and hardest. Okay, so these people can expect real pain, right? And then you have Head Start or preschool aid and WIC. Now, WIC is a special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children. Funds for those programs, they run dry tomorrow as well if Congress doesn't act now. Closures are going to ultimately force parents to ultimately on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, miss work. And then, of course, you have federal pay. The accepted staff, the ones working without pay, they got to keep working with no paychecks, getting up, going to work every day for now. Furloughed staff are going to sit home, again, without pay. And then you have federal contractors who oftentimes they don't even get their back pay. And local economies are going to be feeling this thing really fast as well. Now, who's at most risk? It's going to be the single parent households, right? Or the seniors who are on fixed incomes, or the military families who will be missing pay, or the federal contractors and their families, or people that need childcare, right? People that work and depend on childcare and small businesses. There's a lot of people that are going to feel this thing. Why? Because no paychecks for these people, no SNAP benefits, no WIC benefits, plus add in the additional higher prices equal missed rent, missed bills, more debt. And that spells crisis for a lot of American people. Now, I don't know if you've all been paying attention. There was also insurance news to top it all off. Insurance bills are increasing. Why are insurance bills also jumping up? Well, auto insurance, the average auto insurance climbed up again in 2025 because of higher repair costs, more severe claims, more lawsuits and litigation. All that made those insurance premiums go up. Then, of course, homeowners insurance, nationwide surges, storm losses, reinsurance costs, with consumer groups citing up to 24% hikes in their insurance over the last 3 years. That's huge. Not to mention health insurance, right? Employer family premiums up over 6% year over year in terms of what it costs to have insurance. So the net effect of all of this, guys, is the shutdown removes income, just as the cost of everything around us keeps going up. Not to mention, just a couple of weeks ago, we got an inflation report that said inflation is now up over 3% with the latest reports, which means regular households with all of this going on are being put into a squeeze in terms of their household budgets. Now, what does all this mean for your wallet, and what should you do? Even if you're not directly affected by the fact that the federal government is still shut down, you can expect delays when dealing with federal agencies. That's a given, right? And you can expect some disruptions to your benefits if you get benefits from the federal government. Just expect it. And obviously tighten up your budget if you work for the federal government, or if you're a government contractor, or if your business relies on the federal government and the people who work in the federal government. Again, if you're not directly affected you likely know somebody who is, and your local economy in the city you live in or the town you live in, like the shops and your local landlords and all the people trying to work a side hustle, all of that is going to be affected. Okay. Immediate moves you can make is first, don't panic, right? Second, prioritize your essentials: food, housing, utilities, perhaps transportation. And then maybe you can put off any non essentials. Another thing you can do is call your credits, be proactive about it, right? Mention the shutdown hardship and ask for maybe a skip in a payment or ask for deferrals, whatever you can do, but call those creditors. Another thing you can do is secure your groceries for not just a week, but maybe 2 weeks and 3 weeks in advance, especially if you're relying on SNAP right now. And of course, you always want to shop around when it comes to insurance, auto insurance, home insurance. 2025 hikes, they can be uneven, right? So switching to another insurance carrier is a good thing to do. Always shop around for insurance of all kinds, no matter what insurance we're talking about. Never just accept one insurance quote because they can really vary from place to place. And if you can, make it a priority to stack some cash. Pause any investing extras for the meantime, just for a moment, so you can make sure everything's together. Plug holes in your emergency fund if you have to. What I'm talking about here is what to do in a crisis. Now, if this totally doesn't affect you at all, keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you store up your cash. Make sure you get your resume together and all that good stuff, just in case the job market takes a huge turn. These are things you want to do until we get back to whatever this new normal is going to look like. So here's the deal. You cannot control Congress and getting the government back open. No matter how much protesting and whatever, calling your senator or what, you can't control that. What you can control is your plan, what you do in this crisis or during this crisis. And also, let me say this. Please, if you know somebody and you can give help to somebody in case they don't get their SNAP benefits or they're in a crisis mode, help them out. Right? Lend a helping hand. Give somebody what you can give them. You can spare $200. Find somebody who needs it. Take them to the grocery store. Load them up for a couple of weeks with $300 or $400 worth of groceries so they're good to go. Do it. And in your own four walls, make sure you build up some cushion. Diversify your income and get intentional with every dollar that you plan to spend, starting right now. It's also important for you guys to know that there have been a couple of judges that have said SNAP benefits must continue. Now, look, as of the making of this video, that is sort of breaking news, right? That these judges have ordered that the federal government's administration, the executive administration, must keep SNAP benefits going for roughly 42 million Americans. Now, whether or not the Trump administration or the executive branch is going to appeal that, we'll see. I'll keep you posted. Now, listen, guys, if you want to take control of your money, start with my book, Manage Your Way to Millions, at manageyourwaytomillions.com. And for a deeper dive into getting your money right, check out my full system, The 4 Steps to Maximize Your Money. It's waiting for you over at smartmoneybro.com. Stay tuned to this channel for more updates in plain language. If you got value, smash the like button below. Share this video with someone who you know may be affected by the shutdown. And don't forget to drop that comment below. I want to hear from you. Remember, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take good care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.